New album from Fozzy is called Boombox. May 6th is when it is out. Lead singer of the band, Mr. Chris Jericho, is here with us this morning.
Can I just interject how much I'm terrified of sinkholes? What do we do? You're just driving down the road and a hole just opens up in the road and boom, see you later.
Where that sinkhole is, it's such a huge problem. There's been roads closed for years.
Terrible.
Because I live in the area. I had to get sinkhole insurance.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I had one in my yard one time for years. It sucked, and we kept filling the thing back up, and every now and then.
Yep.
That's where you know you have no chance. You're just walking down the street and a hole opens and you're gone.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done.
There's
Your
footage
ticket has
out
been
of
punched.
I think it was China or was people walking on a residential. You're right.
I know.
Life. Hey, we're walking along. Gone.
They're
It's
done.
like, your number's up.
Yep.
Yeah.
The earth literally
Swallows you whole. That's why it's always good to have a new record coming out. They can feel better in case any sinkholes come up.
May I say, you look very fit and trim, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Getting ready for this tour, did you get yourself in a physical position?
I kind of wanted to lose a couple pounds, and it's one of those things where you lose a few, and somebody says, "Hey, you're looking pretty good," and you're like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll continue to do that."
Right.
And now, I think for the first time ever on stage, I don't have a shirt. I'm like Anthony Kiedis.
Nice. Well, speaking of shirts, I noticed you're wearing a Stevie Nicks
yes.
shirt this morning.
She's
That's
awesome.
cool.
I'm a big Stevie Nicks fan. Still one of the greatest singers of all time. And as you get older and stay in the music biz longer and longer, you realize certain singers are unique and will never ever be replicated. And Stevie's one of
Chris,
them.
I'm going through the same thing and I'm in a big Stevie Nicks mode now because also songwriter. I mean, the whole story. There's a story. I think it's the Dave Grohl, the recording studio
Sun
documentary.
Studios, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they talk about when Fleetwood Mac was forming, the current or the most current iteration. And Lindsey Buckingham, well, okay, I'll join, but you got to take my girlfriend. And he sort of begrudgingly said,
Whatever.
And then she became the hit machine for the band.
And now she's at the point where she takes a stand where, listen, I'm not doing the band without Lindsay. And so now Lindsay's out of Fleetwood Mac. She got her revenge 50 years later.
Steve and I love listening to the live record that they had out a few years ago called The Dance. And I was listening to it yesterday, and Stevie's voice is just unbelievable. But then you hear, like, Chrissy McVie has a really pretty, nice voice. But sitting next to Stevie, it's unfair.
No chance. It's like George Harrison and the Beatles. You're a great songwriter. You're a great singer. You're just in a band with the two best songwriters of all time. You don't have a chance.
Said the same thing. And the thing we love many things about you, your commitment to to rock, to classics. Not classic sounding rock band with the sort of anthemic thrust that you guys have. But it's and remembering all the different career options that have been available to you. You've been in movies, you've written books, you've obviously your wrestling career. Does it still at this point in your life? Because I think music probably is your main passion. I'm going to have to guess that's your main passion. That this is still something that you're able to do and deliver at and be creative at this point in your life.
Well, I mean, both passions is equals wrestling and music, and it's always been that way since I was a kid.
Has it?
And we've discussed this before when people say, "So when did you decide you wanted to be in a band?" And it's like the same time I decided I wanted to be a wrestler. When I was about 13 years old, my high school band was called Scimitar, and the T in Scimitar was a curved sword like Sinbad the Sailor. That's what a scimitar is.
Dude, mine was called Tyrant when I was in junior high.
Really? There was like 50 tyrants. I don't know. There was a tyrant in Winnipeg. So there were tyrants everywhere. But so I've always had that goal and that dream, and even the song "I Still Burn" that you guys just played, it does relate back to those types of feelings of having this goal and having these dreams that you wanted to accomplish, these passions, and getting knocked down and still getting back up again and making them happen. And that's kind of what we've all done in this room. Anybody can relate to that. It's ever had a goal and a dream of something they wanted to accomplish.
There's such a synergy between rock and wrestling.
There really is.
And so, I mean, one of the great things we talk about all the time when I don't care how reticent someone is to go see a wrestling, like WWE, like, and your stuff.
AEW.
AEW too.
Yep.
Any of that stuff is just, you're gonna be pulled in, and a lot of it is the sound and the rock and everything, the presentation. There is that same energy.
Well, it's all connecting with the audience.
Yeah.
That's the secret of being a live performer. And whether you're doing it in wrestling like I do or music like I do, if you're a stand-up comedian, if you're a Shakespearean actor, whatever it may be, if you can connect with the audience and engage them with what you're doing, you'll always have fans. You'll always have them wanting to buy a ticket to come see you. And that's the true secret. When I started wrestling, I wanted to be the ultimate rock and roll front man in a wrestling ring, the Paul Stanley of wrestling, or the Mick Jagger, the Dave Lee Roth. And then when the Chris Jericho character became more prominent, using all of those techniques, I put them back into Fozzy. So it's all rock and roll based, about being a great front man and making sure that people have a great time no matter what the situation is.
You mentioned a few names there, and we had this music battle thing a few weeks ago here on MMR, and we were recruiting bands, and I had said that I wanted, I said the greatest frontman of all time, and so we chose Queen and Freddie Mercury, and then our midday jock Pierre's like, well, I beg to differ.
Beg to differ. What'd you choose, Nick?
And so he went with Mick Jagger,
Yeah.
who he's considered the great. And I started to analyze a little bit of that. I'm like, well, why do I like Freddie Mercury a little bit more than I do Mick? Because Mick is probably one of the great. He is without question one of the greatest frontmen of all time. But he does the dance, let's party, let's have a good time. But Freddie was this basking in his glory.
But let me weigh in on
Two
this,
different
though.
styles.
Let me weigh in this,
Yes.
Preston. Here's the reason why Mick is the greatest frontman of all time, and there is no other answer. But listen to my point, though.
Yeah.
Because Mick, I just saw Mick in November in Atlanta. He's just as good now. And I'm not saying that, he's good for 78. No, he is good for any era to this day. You are talking about their next tour. Think about this.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones 60.
Yeah.
You know what the 60 means? That's how long they've been a band.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can ever beat that, just because,
true.
I mean, Freddie was the greatest, but Freddie also passed away.
He's let himself go.
Well, He's nothing but skin and bones. Right. Too soon. But so I think I agree with what you're saying. But to me, Mick, the fact he's still doing it at the highest of levels, the longevity that the Stones have, and Mick also basks in his own glory as well. Trust me.
Yeah.
The jackets he puts on constantly throughout the show is amazing. So I think just because of that longevity that he has, you can't really beat that.
What do you like to bring to the stage as far as a front man goes?
I mean, like I said, it's just a real vibe of making sure that people have a great time. We have a lot of, anybody that's seen Fozzy knows. I mean, every time we play WMMR,
the MMR barbecue, yeah.
I mean, the secret is you want people engaged, chanting Fozzy, clapping, singing, jumping up and down, whatever the tricks are. We use all of them, because when people come to our gig, they know that they're going to be run through the ringer of entertainment and crowd involvement, and all that stuff is very important. People just want to be involved. They want to sing along.
We were just having a discussion earlier about there was a study that was done about why some people have an emotional connection at a concert and why they might have emotional outbursts like crying and things like that.
Right.
So I'm sure you have diehard fans and you'll see that in the crowd. What are you thinking? I mean, you may have seen it enough now where you're a little jaded to it, but when you see somebody who's having an emotional reaction to what you're doing on stage.
I never get jaded to that. I meet people all the time and they burst out crying. And I think it's because, like, I know, like, when I met Hetfield for the first time, gosh, it was probably 15 years ago now. I had tears, and I'm a grown man.
You can't believe it.
You can't believe that you're actually seeing this guy up close and personal, because music goes beyond just turning it on and, banging your head or you put the top down, you drive. There's emotional connection. It helps you through. It's therapy. It helps you through terrible times. There's songs that I listened to when my parents got separated and divorced when I was 16, 17, that I still hear it and it makes you feel good. And I think when you meet somebody like that in person, or even, for me from the wrestling standpoint, when you've been in somebody's lives for a long time, you indirectly help people through the battles of their life. And I think you have to understand that when people see that, sometimes it is very emotional. People sometimes don't know what to say, and you might think, oh, that guy's being rude, or that guy's sure is quiet. They're nervous. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to react, and you just learn that after a while, and you just have to give people some slack and know it's okay if you don't know what to say, because I don't know what to say if I ever meet, Paul McCartney as well, or whatever it may
Well,
be.
speaking of that, tie that into the fact now that people are loving to get back to concerts, and we were talking, before you came on, and you're saying like you're getting like crazy levels of walk-up now,
Walk-ups, yeah.
which is like 35%. I mean,
Last night was 35% walk up, which anybody in the business knows is absolutely ridiculously crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. It just means people are like, okay, can I go? Let's go.
They're waiting. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
waiting to see if there's any new, if there's any murder hornets showing up. Those poor murder hornets really never got their due.
They never did.
I feel
No,
bad for them.
yeah.
But so the last week and the last couple days and the day of, it's just going through the roof, which has been great to see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What happens on the day or the night when you show up at the show and you just like, what do you do when you just don't feel it and you need to get motivated, like to get, knowing that you need to put on a show because you had a rough night the night before or your voice isn't quite there yet? Like, how do you motivate yourself to get up every night and perform every night?
Something that Dee Snider said years ago always resonates with me. It's like you might feel like crap and you might not feel it or you might not be happy or you might not in a good mood, but you have to equate the people that show up to that gig, they've been waiting. A month, 2 months, a year, 5 years. Who knows how long it's been since they've been waiting to see Chris Jericho, waiting to see Fozzy. And they are excited. And they've had the babysitter, and they've got the parking, and they've got the ticket, and they've bought the shirt. Leave all that pretentious crap behind you and get out there and rock.
Yeah.
And make sure that people have a great time. I'm sorry if you had a bad day, Chris. I'm sorry if you stayed up till 6 in the morning drinking Grey Goose and listening to Iron Maiden. Suck it up, bitch, and put on a show. That's your job.
No, great.
I had a question. You guys played, you were in Delaware on Saturday. You played Poughkeepsie last night. You're playing, what, Virginia tonight?
Leesburg, Virginia.
Leesburg, Virginia tonight. So here's my question for you. That takes a special kind of person. And there are people who are good musicians, and maybe want to do this for a living, but maybe can't handle that type of a schedule. Have you seen people that have gone in it with the best of intentions? I love music. I'm a good musician. But I can't do this, man. This is too much,
Yeah, being on the road isn't for everybody, And for me, I've been on the road for 30 years, so it's just a way of life for
what
me.
you
I
do.
don't.
With
Yeah,
both your main occupations involve
It's
road
just-
travel. It's what you do.
It's the way it is. So
Yeah.
I don't see it the same as other people do. Like if you said, "Hey, Chris, they want you to come play in London tomorrow. You got to leave tonight. You land at 7 a.m. You go through customs. You get to the gig. You sleep on the floor of the venue or the couch. Play the show and leave right after because you got to be back in Philly the night after that."
Yeah.
I'd say, "Sure, let's do it. Let's make it happen." So you think differently. It isn't easy. Being on the road isn't easy. And no matter what level it is, we travel pretty nicely for our band. If you're in the Stones, you travel even more nice. Doesn't matter. It's still planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah.
It's still not your bed. So it does take a special type of person. And that's why having longevity in show business is a rare thing because it is not for everybody.
Do you ever get to stay in a hotel, or is it just in the bus?
Yeah, we
all
stay in the
time?
hotel quite often, yeah.
How good are you with check in, check out, and being efficient and packing and all that
I'm good with
stuff?
that, but the one thing that I have to do, I always text myself the room number.
Yes.
The reason,
Yes.
dude.
The reason for that is because a lot of times, if you check in from one hotel to the next, you don't know what room you're in, and you find yourself just on an elevator randomly, and then you got
three.
Yes, here's the best. You go to the front desk. "Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me what room I'm in?" And they look at you like you're crazy. Like, I have no idea what room I'm in.
Is it like the people that hired are going, did you know that Chris Jericho is the elevator operator here?
He doesn't even know what room he's in. He's wasted. No, I'm not wasted. I just don't know what room I'm in. I'm sorry.
What are the best amenities to get in a hotel? Like you get in a room, you go, oh, they got robes, Or is there anything?
Never been a robe guy.
Not a robe guy,
It's
yeah.
always good to have the little liquid soap. Is nice. The body wash.
Right,
yeah. Because I throw that into my little toiletry bag. and
Sometimes
keep
they have
it.
little dispensers in the shower.
They do that, and
Yeah.
I find that's a little bit ghetto, like
Okay.
because you never know that soap could have been there for 5 years. For me, though, the biggest one now is the coffee.
Yeah.
I like the nice little coffee machines that come with either the little Keurig little capsules or the little bag. Like the little bag
Yes.
of coffee, and you put it in there.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, you got to put the water in the back, but you got to put the right amount. If not, it just comes out, it fills the cup, and just keeps going.
Yeah.
Then it makes a mess. So it becomes kind of a little bit of a challenge. Can I make a good cup of coffee in this hotel tonight?
All right, do you take advantage of the continental breakfast? Yes
I do
or no?
not.
Oh,
I do
you
not.
okay?
And I would,
Yeah.
not with, I don't worry about all I want is a coffee machine and an ice machine close to me where I can get some ice and have a drink after the show. And as long as I get that, I am fine. That's all I need.
If you're just tuning in, it's Chris Jericho from, of course, the band Fozzy. The new record is called Boombox, coming out on May 6th. What number album is this for you guys now? Like 15, something like
It's
that?
actually number 8.
Okay,
number
I know
8,
you've
yeah.
been around for at least 15 years, right?
We have been, yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
this record, Judas, came out in 2017. So now we're going on 5 years between records. And that wasn't supposed to be the case. We were actually calling this album Chinese Fozocracy for a while.
You want to hit the 14-year mark?
It took so long.
Yeah.
We started recording this in May of 2019. And then, of course, the pandemic came. And then we actually have had it finished, mixed, and mastered and done for a year. But I didn't want to release a record. None of us did during kind of the last bits of lockdown. Can we do touring? Can we go to radio stations and be in studio? So now the timing is right, and May 6th is perfect.
A number of musicians that sort of just sat on stuff they had ready to go right at the beginning. Because I don't want to have this just be inert and not be able to support it and play it for people.
AC/DC Power Up record they put out last year is one of my favorite AC/DC records ever.
Right.
I think it's great. They still haven't toured on it. Listen, that's AC/DC. They can do that. We didn't want to do that because we really love this record, Boombox. We believe in it. There's already 2 top 10 singles from it with I Still Burn is out already as well. It's a different business model than the way it used to be. Before you'd put the record out and the single comes out the same day, and then you got 6 months to promote it. You can promote a record for 5 years now and just keep putting out content and singles as you go. And that's the smart way of doing it.
Are you a band that composes on tour, or do you have to come off tour and
Yeah, we've never been that way. It's touring is touring, and I think Rich Ward writes a lot of riffs and kind of puts them in the riff bank. But as far as writing songs, we kind of tour and then write. But there is still a little bit of that, but usually when you're off in between legs of the tour, shall we say.
In a nod to the title of the album, any chance that since it's Boombox, you guys are going to release this on cassette for old schools?
That'd be a great idea.
Right?
Check this out. I just got this in the mail the other day. I get packages sometimes from different places, and it was a package from Aerosmith. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they've just put out some kind of a record from 1971, like their original tracks or something. I can't remember what it was called, right from the start or something. And the package had the LP, a T-shirt, a cassette, and a cassette player. One of those old school cassette players that's about a foot long. And I was like, that's really smart.
Yeah.
So maybe we should do the same and put it out on cassette for people that have players.
Were you a Maxell or a TDK guy when you were?
I like the Maxell because you could do a 90-minute.
Yes.
And I would make a
longer ones.
90-minute mixtape, 45 minutes aside. You could really stock it full of all your favorites.
It's hilarious that became sort of the retro. Cassettes have had their thing. Now 8-tracks have become retro again.
Well, check this out. So we were in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania the other day, and there was a record store there that was selling a bunch of cassettes. And in that basket or box of cassettes, there was random mixtapes that people had needed and sold. And I told the guys, like, dude, I've got like 20 mixtapes. I'm going to send them all to you. Make Chris Jericho's mixtape. I think people would dig that.
Totally.
All right, what I have to ask then. Okay, mixtapes. Did you generate more mixtapes to get a girl, or just to have your own specific?
Well, because I would travel, like we mentioned, I've been traveling on the road since '91. So back in those days, you didn't have every single song ever written on your phone.
Right.
You would have to pick and choose. So I would make these long mixtapes to throw into my little box of. You could take 30 with you in a little suitcase. But if I made the mixtapes, that would put a lot of variety to it. So I would make them for myself.
Okay.
And the big one that I made was Ballad Salad. Ballad Salad volumes 1 through 5. And these were songs that, like, they weren't ballads per se. They were songs that made me feel a certain way, like if a chick dumped me or something. I remember Cold Shot by Stevie Ray Vaughan was on Ballad Salad. Like, just that you listen to, just like makes you feel good. Be like, F this chick. It's her fault, not mine. She can't take it. Ballad Salad.
I love that.
Speaking of songs that you like, Marissa.
There you go, by the way.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Great song.
What a riff, right?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Just slow and dirty.
Yeah.
Love it.
Stevie Ray was the man.
He's could be the greatest guitarist ever.
He's up there.
Yeah.
Once again, if he was still with us and was still able to create music, right?
You know what, Marissa, speaking of songs that you like, while you were in the hallway, she said that your a ringtone or an alert went off on your phone, and it was a Scorpion song.
The Zoo.
It was the Zoo.
The Zoo.
Excellent.
My
the
favorite
Scorpions could be, I look back at me as junior high, The Scorpions, and even though Eddie was the guitar god, I think the band that I air guitared most to was the Scorpions.
Yeah.
Like the solo and Still Loving You, and obviously Rock You Like a Hurricane. And this one, I would just stand in front of a mirror and just rock out to it, man. This is a great riff, too.
Super heavy.
All chunky.
You know, that's another thing. Like we use, you mentioned the tricks that we use. There's a lot of Scorpions tricks that Fozzy uses on stage. Scorpions are still always really into the choreography and all four guys coming together, and people love that stuff.
Oh,
and
doing
nobody.
the rock
that sort of stuff. But
thing, or-
even just coming together at certain parts as a
Right.
band.
I love that.
People love it, and not
Yeah.
a lot of bands do that. And that's one thing, what's old is new. Anything you can pull from a band like the Scorps, for example, it always works because we have a whole new generation of fans coming to see Fozzy that maybe don't even know who the Scorpions are or haven't seen the Scorpions or forget. And when you do those little things, it always stands out and people remember it. If it's a subtle thing, it's like, that was cool when they did that thing when they all came together. Like, I used to love that
So it's
with the Scorps.
People can tell it's either you're bringing back nostalgic memories, or it's the first time they've ever seen
First time I've
anything
seen,
like
yeah, it's just something that's cool.
You got to be a fan of Steel Panther, right?
Yeah, we've toured with
Yeah,
Steel
yeah,
Panther
yeah,
quite a
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, they're great guys too because they Steel Panther was the end of the road for them.
Yeah.
They'd been around for years and they were like, listen, let's just do a fun project and kind of make fun of the 80s. And here they are playing arenas. So they're not dicks in any way, shape,
No,
or
they're
form
great.
because they realize how lucky they are. And also, they're a great rock and roll band. They play great hooks. They're great guys. So it's always cool to hang with them and play with them.
Well, you guys, when you find something, and listen, you know the band's been together for a long time, and you have your style and those moves that you know work. But will you have like a little post show from time to go and go, man,
Yes.
what we did really worked.
Yeah, and sometimes you stumble on things.
Yeah.
We used to have this big long intro tape. It was like kind of a War Pigs cross from 300, like an orchestral thing. It was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. And I remember just this last tour, we were playing a festival, and you get 40 minutes, and you don't want to waste 3 minutes of it as of an intro. So we just said, let's just walk on stage. It's like something Van Halen in '81. We'll come on stage and just like, they're on stage.
Yeah.
And it worked so well that we just do that now. We play Don't Stop Believin' as the intro, and as soon as Don't Stop Believin' is fading out, we just walk on stage. And it's one of those things that no one expects because there's always some kind of an intro.
Yeah.
And that's something like you said, we just stumbled on it. It really worked, and we said, let's just keep that as part of our show. Once again, it's a super unique intro that no one uses. Just wander on stage. Here we are, guys.
Nice.
Are you ready? And boom, kick into
I love
it.
that stuff. And recently, also, and Peter Gabriel did it a couple of years ago, and leaving the arena lights up for certain.
Right.
So you're seeing everything, and it's
Yeah.
it's kind of all those things when you're taking the time to change it up and to let's try this.
Yes.
The audience appreciates it. I think for the most part, they're like, "Hey, man, this is something different." And so when you go, as you said, you got the babysitter, you spent your money, you're going to do the deal, you're going to have a good time.
There's so many bands, especially now everyone's out on the road touring again. Anything you can do that stands out and is unique is worth doing.
Yeah.
That's some advice.
By the way, a number of people have texted in and would like to purchase Ballad Salad when that is
I got
available.
something here. You never know, man. You never know
I
with
think
me.
you do.
I will market it.
I
if
love
there's a
that
way to
idea.
market it, I will market the damn thing.
Yeah. By the way, a text from somebody else that says, please tell Chris his What's Your Favorite Horror Movie interview with Dead Meat was awesome.
Thank you.
What was that all about?
Sleepaway Camp 2.
Sleepaway Camp 2 with Bruce Springsteen's sister.
You know
is-
it.
Yeah.
Pamela Springsteen.
I love both of those. They're so one and two.
Yeah.
But when I don't want to give it away, the reveal when you see it, and as the legend and lore goes, but she's
The first
wonderfully
one.
psychotic. Yeah, in the first
Yeah,
one.
she's
you
great.
see-
The second one, Pamela Spring, also starring Amelia Estevez's sister, Renee Estevez.
There was another Estevez?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a third one.
I didn't-
Absolutely.
There's Charlie and then
Charlie
Emilio.
Sheen, Amelia, and Renee Estevez.
All right, away from Sleepaway Camp 2, what's your second favorite?
I think the greatest horror movie of all time is the original Halloween. It still gets me to this day. The suspense in that,
Yeah.
the way it's written, the music, obviously. I don't think it gets much better than that. Although, if I had to face Halloween, it would be another John Carpenter, The Thing.
The thing is, again, so staggering. I love watching Guillermo del Toro talk about the first time he saw the thing
Yeah.
in Mexico City, that they could not believe, as we all could. We could not believe what we were seeing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I wanted to ask you as well. So we're huge MacGruber fans, Casey and I.
Nice.
Did we? Obviously, you blew up in a van in the first one, but have they contacted you?
They contacted
for the
me to
TV show?
use some footage from the original, and I was like, just make Frank Corver's twin brother Hank Corver.
Why not?
Put me on the show. Come on, Forte. Come on, Yorma. That is a movie that is a cult favorite, shall we say?
Oh my God!
I went to Saturday Night Live and saw the show, and they have an after party, and it was Halloween. And John Mayer came up to me dressed as a stormtrooper and started talking to me in some like really strange lines. And I realized he was quoting my part in MacGruber verbatim. It's his favorite movie of all time. That's how John Mayer and I became friends because of my 5-minute part in MacGruber.
It's hilarious, yeah. And it's funny how those things transcend. It's something that. And you know that everyone involved in that, I'm sure it's an amazing sort of feather in your cap to have MacGruber.
Yeah, it is. It's actually pretty funny to think about it because they said from the start this movie's probably going to bomb in the theater, but in the long run it'll be a cult classic, and that's what it is.
Just renewed it, so they had one season on Peacock.
Right,
they're doing a second season.
I'm still around.
I
Come
know.
on.
By the way,
Hank Corver.
with streaming services and the way people consume shows now, like living on the road. You guys can watch anything anytime if you want to. Are there any band shows? You guys have any shows that you watch and talk about, or is everybody doing their own thing?
We got into the movie. Speaking of horror movies, the movie X that just came out by Ty West.
Is it good?
It's really creepy. Yeah,
I want to
really
check
good.
it out. Yeah,
it's like a horror movie porno almost, but it's really. It just came out I think this week on demand. It's really good.
They're making like a no budget porn movie, and they
and there's a creepy husband and wife, old people that live. Next door. This guy's on it, man. Your producer's already showing X here.
Yeah, we got clips of it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's really cool, and so stuff like that. We don't really watch stuff as a band.
Yeah.
We listen to a lot of music as a band.
Okay.
We really enjoy.
and you agree
doing
for the
that.
most part on what
We do, but there's a lot of different like Rich loves 70s funk and 70s yacht rock. Our bass player PJ used to be in Trickster back in the
no
day.
way,
So we
really?
listen to a lot of that late at night just to check it out. We listen
Trickster.
to a lot of new stuff, whatever's coming out. We've been really into the new Chili Peppers album. So yeah, we just kind of put on music before the show, after the show, and hang out, and that's good fellowship time.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Well, listen, you guys you're on the road, you're headed out, but the album is coming out on May 6th. We want to make sure that everybody knows you can pre-order Boombox.
Very cool.
You can do that at FozzyRock.com, and I'm sure you can get it on other platforms
we
too.
appreciate your support of I Still Burn too. It was the #1 most added song on rock radio in the States. And I always say this, I never realized how important rock radio still is until we started getting played on rock radio. It's the #1 most important thing that drives our band. It helped Judas go gold, and WMMR has always been a huge supporter of ours, and we thank you guys. Seriously, that's not just lip service, it's the truth.
No, and we know you're legit about that. We've had enough encounters and
Gosh, I've been in here so many times. My goodness.
It's the best. It is the best.
been great, so.
All right, well, listen, man, good luck with everything, and
Thank
we're
you.
so happy you're still killing it. So.
Yes, we're excited when you invite us back to WMMR Fest.
Yeah,
It's always
absolutely.
fun.
Barbecue, yeah.
Barbecue.
barbecue.
Last time we played with the Struts, and it was awesome. So
Yeah.
we're waiting. Give us a call. Invite us.
We will. Fozzy, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Jericho. New album is Boombox. Get it today.